even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed, that all men are created equal.
Get up, stand up for your right. Get up, stand up for your right. Get up, stand up for your right. Get up, stand up, don't give up the fight.
Hi, good evening. This is Rod Solomons. I'm Advocate Rod Solomons. I'm bringing to you Rodsviews tonight on a live platform. It's a new platform. Those of you who know me, that I used to be the head of sport and culture in the Western Cape many, many years ago. I'm retired. I'm an advocate by profession. Many, many years ago as well, I used to be the ANC in the Western Cape, the head of its civil service unit. I was very involved in the setting up of the new public sector and parliaments here in the province and nationally. I currently run a Sport and Jazz Foundation, which is my giving back to society. I'm the coordinator of something called the South Africa First Forum, which is a civil society organization that holds those in authority accountable. I was also part of the Credible Alternative First, that we tested the waters in, I think, 2019 or 2021 with local government elections. Unsuccessfully so, but luckily it was unsuccessfully so, I think. And I've been expressing my views on social media. I've got a Facebook page called Rodsviews that has progressed to being on the radio, on a radio platform called The Wave. And tonight we've now, after lots of thinking and discussing and so on, we've moved Rodsviews to a podcast close to television. So you can see the face behind the voice and the face behind the written word. So those who know me, you'll know that you'll get insightful commentary. It's going to be without fear. It's going to be direct. It's going to be uncontaminated, and it's going to be without fear or favor. So we're going to ask the uncomfortable questions. We're going to deal with the stuff that our conventional media sometimes don't want to deal with, because we are not beholden to anyone. We are beholden to the people of the city, this province, and this country. And that's what Rodsviews is about. We're going to discuss current affairs as it impacts on people in this city, people in this province, people in South Africa, and even stuff that happens other parts of the world, especially if it affects South Africa and how our government deals with that. And so we're going to talk to people who's in the public sector and people in the private sector. We're going to be talking to a whole range of interesting people. We're going to engage them. It's not going to be an interrogation. We would want to hear their views. This Rodsviews is really there to empower people. so that people can able to have their own views about stuff. And I'll put things on the table. I might not have all the answers, but I put it on the table to enable you to start thinking about those things and to ask the right questions and ask the questions to the right people. Also, we would want it to be interactive. Obviously, on the Facebook page of Cape Conscious Media and the Facebook page of Rodsviews, you're welcome to give comments or questions. And we've got our own email address as well. It's rodsviews10@gmail.com. You are welcome to send any suggestions, people that you think I need to talk to, any items that you'd want us to deal with, and especially where you've gone on, there's closed doors, etc. So you're welcome to bring it to my notice, and then we'll take it further. For this month, until the elections, we are going to. It's an interesting election this year. I think it's an important election, 2024. And I'm going to use this platform for the Mondays that's left. I think there's about 5 or 6 Mondays. We will engage smaller political parties, newer political parties, and independents to come and share with us and with you their views. I'll obviously engage them. There's a few questions that we want to pose to them. We're not going to give oxygen to the established political parties, the bigger ones like the ANC, the DA, the EFF, even Freedom Front Plus, ACDP, all of those. They've got enough resources. They've been there forever. I know how expensive it is to run an election campaign and to get your message across. So we will give those smaller parties and the independents and the newer parties, we'll give them a platform. So you're welcome to reach out to us, and we will engage you as well to see whether you want to come on board to have a chat with us. There's a number of things that we'll talk about. There's definitely, for example, oh yes, I need to say, for tonight, I'll be the one talking, and there's a few topics I want to talk about, and other episodes we'd want to talk about other stuff as well, and we'll get some guests into the studio. Probably from next Monday we'll have some guests in. Like for example, stuff that we want to talk about is the saga in Western Province Rugby. The issue of the new equity owner in Western Province Rugby and what happened between it and its previous president. He think he's still the president, Zalt Maree. We'd want to have an interaction around that. We'd want to have interactions, obviously politics. We want to have interactions in other sports entities. We'd want to have interactions in communities. There's stuff that's out there that's just not getting exposure and so on. So we'll do all of that. But tonight we're going to veer more towards the political terrain as it's happening in South Africa. So the first one I want to talk about and express some views is the phenomenon called the MK Party and ex-President Jacob Zuma. When he started, many people laughed it off. Some indicated you got to take this thing seriously, because those who know, Zuma is a chess player, and he plays a long game. And don't underestimate the fact that the man doesn't have a formal qualification, or that laugh that he has, or that singing that he does, mshini wam, etc. There's method to the madness, as they say. So my sense, in essence, what that is about is for Zuma to get back at those within the ANC who has gunned for him. And he's felt that people have stabbed him in his back. And the biggest person that's in his sights is none other than the president of this country and the president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa. Sorry, I must check my watch. The MK party is a useful weapon to be used to get at Cyril Ramaphosa and those in the ANC. And Zuma's biggest thing is that he didn't do anything wrong. That's his thing. And he, by hook or by crook, he wants to get Cyril Ramaphosa out of that position. Because the one thing that he ultimately wants is for that court case that he is facing to go away, and to potentially get a presidential pardon ultimately. And obviously whoever then becomes a president and gets into power from the ANC side could have sufficient pressure on the NPA to either botch that case or to let it go away. So the MK party is, my sense, is really about that. It's really about Zuma getting at Ramaphosa and some of those in the ANC who did him wrong, he feels. Zuma is being underestimated at their own peril. I think they underestimated the old man. He's 82, so I can't call him an old man. He's got no interest to go back into politics, etc. I think that's just a figment. So the Zuma and the MK party is really there. It's a pressure. And I'll talk a bit about electoral pacts maybe later in the show. But it leads for interesting times. If the MK party makes a significant dent, they get significant support in KZN. I think they're going to have significant support there. They get significant support in Mpumalanga, in the Eastern Cape. They'll get some support in Gauteng. They'll even get some support in the Western Cape. I've been talking to some people, and people from the townships, etc., who are clear in their minds that they'll support Zuma. So Zuma and the MK party is definitely going to take votes from, number one, the ANC, number two, the EFF, COPE, probably, because COPE belong to lots of disgruntled ANC people. And then a lot of ANC people who are not going to vote. ANC people, they don't necessarily go and vote for somebody else. They just stay away. that happened in the last elections. So in this election, they at least got another entity that they can go with, and which is Zuma and the MK party. Because the MK party's policies, we've been looking at it, but the policy is, it's light, it's ANC light, but it talks about the land, it talks about empowerment of the poor, the dispossessed. It talks about people who has been thrown by the side. So that's a phenomenon in my sense around Zuma and the MK party. And so I think it's going to make some impact significantly. So that's that around the MK party. Then I want to talk about a very touchy subject, and I think it's a subject that we need to raise, we need to talk about, and we need to arrest it before it's too late. And that's one of the important institutions that we have in our country. Probably one of the, not the most important, but a very significant institution, and that's called the IEC. And that's the people who must make sure that we have free and fair elections. There's a credible election process. There's not bloodshed after the elections. People freely and easily accept the outcome of the elections because they believe that the people who are in charge is credible. And they don't have the interests of any political party in hand. They don't, whether it's a governing party or not. They don't do the bidding of even of government, because government consists of a political party. That's head of government. So we need to talk about the IEC, and we need to assist the IEC to maintain its credibility. And we need to point out to the IEC in a nice way where we think they are going wrong. And we need to suggest to them what they need to do to make sure that they don't lose that credibility. And there's a view by some of us, and I'm one of those, who feel that unfortunately the IEC has been scoring a few own goals lately, and they're giving ammunition to those who want to undermine them and who wants to prepare the storyline for post-elections not to accept the election outcome. So the IEC, the commissioners, especially the commissioners, needs to be very careful in what they say and what they do and with who and so on. And I can talk from personal experience. I think 2019, we were observers. SA First Forum was an observer during the elections. We saw some stuff, and we sent in a report that we alerted them to some things. 2021, CA First Credible Alternative contested elections. Many of us and some of the candidates and people that were on the ground alerted to certain things that were happening and so on. We wrote to the IEC. we express our concern and so on. And there was a view held, I think we went public with that view. And we said, was that what we saw in 2021, was that not a precursor to what potentially could happen in 2024? And the jury's out on 2024. So our appeal to the IEC is to make sure that their processes and systems are in place and they go the extra mile to make sure that their credibility is not called to question. And they do not unnecessarily score on own goals. For example, there's a practical example currently on the table, and I express my view about it. Generally known, I support the IEC's interpretation of Section 47, 1E of the Constitution, that Zuma does not qualify to be on the candidate lists of MK Party. Its lawyer made a case. I think some of the points could have been made stronger, but that's my view. But it made a cogent case. The MK Party made a different case, and they harped on that one of the IC councillors was not independent enough, felt that that she was swayed, and some pronouncements she made. So as we all know, the electoral court ruled against the IEC in favor of the MK Party. Zuma can be on the ballot, but they didn't provide the reasons. And everyone is keen to hear the reasons and so on, so everyone is speculating. All our lawyers now and so on, and say it's for this and that reason and so on. But you don't know until the court has given its reasons. But what the IEC does, and I think some people are supporting them, I don't support them. The IEC goes and runs, and they want to run to the Constitutional Court to give a ruling on the matter. My question is, how can the Constitutional Court entertain that, and on what basis? The IEC, in the papers which I read, they speculate some of the reasons, and they regurgitate the case that they made. And imagine the electoral court come with their reasons, and the reasons are totally different to what the IEC is now averring to the Concord. A disaster. I think the Concord should not entertain that. I think that's it's politically dangerous. I think there is a potential for unnecessary, what's the word I want to use? Unnecessary, let's use the word polemic around this. I think they must wait on the electoral court to give its reasons. I can speculate what I think, and we all can speculate. I don't think it's going to turn around Section 47 1E, the interpretation. I think it's going to go on something else. Why why they said that Zuma should be on the list. And I still disagree with that. So, I mean, that's one of the big own goals. And I think, again, as I said, Zuma and the MK party took this matter to the electoral court, and they're waiting with bated breath to see what the constitutional court is coming out and so on, because it's a PR victory for them. They're staying in the news, and they're going to say, we told you so, that that we are victims. And you know, Zuma likes to play the victim. And people, his supporters, it energizes his supporters when he's being regarded as a victim. So it's the establishment against him. So we need to talk about the credibility of the IEC, and they need to score less own goals, and we need to direct them where we think they're doing things wrong or so on, and hopefully they'll be big enough to take it on board. Then I want to talk about the common decency and the name-calling of other parties, smaller parties, and newer parties by the DA. I want you to listen to this clip by the DA's leader. And then after that, I'll express some views about that.
Unlike the rest of the country, the biggest enemy of progress and opportunity here in the Western Cape is not an ANC government desperately clinging to power like they're doing in the other 8 provinces. The biggest risk to continued progress, to continued opportunity and building a better future for all of us in this province is complacency and mercenary parties like the PA, like Rise Mzansi, like Good and like the NCC. Because they're not interested in taking on the ANC. Why aren't they campaigning in Limpopo and the Northwest Province? Why are they coming to the Western Cape? Why are they coming here to try and...
Yeah. Why are they coming to the Western Cape? Why don't they go to other provinces? Why don't they take on the ANC? And they are called political mercenaries, and they are called popcorn parties. Mrs. Steenhuisen and your leadership, do you guys remember many, many years ago when the DP only had 1 member of parliament? When you guys were the Democratic Party, there were few members in the National Assembly. There were 1 or 2 in each of the provincial legislatures, etc. No one told you not to go and campaign and so on. I think it's arrogance. You know, people would use another word, and let me use that word. It's white baaskap mentality. Why do they do it in the Western Cape? The Western Cape is not a little island on itself. The Western Cape is part of South Africa. Last time I read that constitution, it's a pity I don't have mine with me, is there's freedom of movement, freedom of association, all of those things. So people can go and campaign wherever they want to. And they must come and campaign in the Western Cape. Because they are, in your estimation, things are going right in the Western Cape. For who's it going right? We will have a discussion over this up till the elections around the disparities between the rich and the poor, and between black and white, and black includes coloreds and Indians, and the inequalities in this place, in spite of everything that you are saying. And you know why things are going right in this province? It's because not of the politicians, my friend. It's because of the civil service. It's because of the quality of people that works in the public service in the Western Cape. And guess what? The majority of those people who work in the public service in the Western Cape are black. They are competent. They can do the stuff irrespective of who are the political leaders. I used to be there. Back in the day, when we had the government of provincial unity, when the NNP and the ANC, I don't know whether the DP was in the cabinet, the Western Cape was then already one of the best performing provinces in South Africa, but with less arrogance as there is now. So, don't want to tell people that they cannot campaign here, and don't make the assertion. I'm going to ask them. My understanding is quite clear from the people, especially if we now talk about in the Western Cape. They want the ANC out. The ANC is already out. I don't think the ANC is going to get significant vote in this province. And they want the DA out because they want our people to get a better deal. So, you are a mercenary because you are using our people for your benefit. You're getting our people to vote for you, and then you give them crumbs. And come election time, you give them more crumbs. But we'll talk about that some more. So I think it is uncalled for, it's unnecessary, and that is one of the reasons why I want to make I think it's a fair estimation that observation that I've, in terms of I'm talking to people and I'm reading stuff and I'm hearing stuff and so on, is that your moonshot pact is falling slowly but surely, crumbling apart. Because you treat the people who are part of that moonshot pact with disdain. So if you, and let me make another prediction. It is my firm conviction. I'm prepared to bet a bottle of single malt whiskey with someone. I've already bet something with one of the senior DA people Friday evening. A bottle of single malt whiskey. Where I said they are going to get less than 50% of the vote in the Western Cape. Mark my words. Anybody who want to take me on with that bet, please send me a WhatsApp, those who got my number, or send me an email, rodsviews10@gmail.com. So I think, Mr. Steenhuisen and the others of the Blue Party, if you continue to talk like that, disparagingly to people from other political parties, soon you're going to need to talk to them about to see whether they are prepared to form a government with you post 29 May. So let me continue around electoral pacts. You know, there's the Moonshot Pact. which I think is slowly but surely, it's disintegrating. Then there's an interesting pact that Zuma them are busy with, and that's a pact with among so-called black parties. And I believe there's been discussions between MK Party, UDM, EFF, PAC, a few others, to get that, to see how they can work together and so on. Then my sense is that there are some discussions around some of the smaller parties to see how they could work together. And then there are some discussions, Then there's a Western Cape Pact, interesting pact. Maybe it's not a pact, but there's some discussions, informal and so on, around some of the parties in the Western Cape. And I must tell you that I am, everyone's talking about coalition and so on. I'm a proponent of governments of national unity and government of provincial unity. We had that in the past. It worked. The one nationally didn't fell apart because of egos and so on. I was in 1 year in the Western Cape. It worked perfectly. I think Ernest Kriel was a premier. Alan Busak and some of those people were Ibrahim Rasool, Lerumo Kalako, Leonard Ramatlakane, I think, a few others. They were part of the cabinet. And there were Peter Marais, Gerald Mokel, Piet Meyer, Kobus Meyering, all of those people were from the National Party side. What's her name? Martha Olkes as well. They seemed to work okay. This thing never fell apart. So I think we need to have variances of governments of provincial and national unity. We have certain thresholds of parties need to have at least X amount of seats of votes, percentage-wise, in order to become part of that cabinet. So that would, and maybe I think I need to have a discussion, get a few people to have a discussion around this thing called government of national unity and government of provincial unity vis-a-vis coalition governments. I think they are two different animals. And I think that's what we need to do. Because there are good people in the different political parties. And not all the leaders are necessarily good to be in a cabinet, whether provincial or national. But there's people in their parties. And I think South Africa requires the best people around to be able to get us out of the abyss that we're hurtling towards. This whole concept called meritocracy that I'm a fervent proponent of. We need to get the best people in, irrespective of which political party they are from, irrespective of what color they are. As long as they can do the business for the benefit of the people of this country and province. And there must be certain principles, certain non-negotiables, etc. In some of the shows, I want to talk about that as well. I want to talk about the the People's Charter that came out from the People's Convention that was held at UWC in December last year. There were other similar initiatives. We need to put those things on the table, and hopefully some of the political parties should take some of those things on board. We want to see real plans. We don't want to see all of this. There are lots of promises. I can talk about their manifestos, but we'll engage when we meet with some of the parties. And as I said, from next week onwards, we'll have some of the smaller parties, the newer parties, and one or two independents to hear their views and to engage with them. I'm near the end of tonight's session. Bietjie lang gepraat. Oh, some listeners. Oh, Bernie Alfino. Oh. Thanks for tuning in, Jenny Jansen and Bernie Alfino. Yes, we definitely will have some forthright discussions. We will have that. We'll have them sitting over here, and we'll get some ordinary Cape Townians and South Africans to come into the studio as well. You don't need to be a leader to come and speak here and to share your views. We'd like to hear what's a view of ordinary people. So I want to end, every Monday I would want to end with a feel-good moment. It's not just one to groans and moans and so on. And we'll give credit where it is due when it is something that's coming from government, something that happened on the sports field, in the cultural field, and so on. So tonight I actually got two feel-good moments. The one feel-good moment is Friday night, last Friday past. One of the true icons of South Africa. He's 89, he's turning 90. Abdullah Ibrahim, Dr. Abdullah Ibrahim, had an amazing concert, probably his last concert in Cape Town at the City Hall. It was a privilege to be there. Those who were there, keep your tickets, frame it, photos that you took, frame it. That is a true son of the soil. He's put South Africa on the map. I think it's probably because of his practicing his mixed martial arts that is still so good. I had the singular privilege once to host him and his band a few years ago at my house in Pinelands. We had a lunch for them. And I'll never forget, I think it's Ibtisar Fisher. She made the food. And I know he is a vegetarian. So I think she made vegetarian biryani or something. Because I think he likes biryani, but it's vegetarian. So it was amazing. Amazing to have had him there many years ago, and amazing to have gone to this concert on Friday night. So well done to the City of Cape Town, the Western Cape government, and the national government for honoring, bestowing that honor on Abdullah Ibrahim. Because from here he went to go and do a show in Joburg as well. I think he did 2 shows, one in Joburg and one in Pretoria. So that's a one feel-good moment. It was, those who were there can attest to that. Then I read, was it last week, in the newspaper, the business newspaper, that the National Treasury is actually working on changing the triple P regulations. public-private partnerships, and unsolicited bids. You know, it's a big bugbear for those who's in that industry. When you have an idea and you go to government, many entrepreneurs complain about it, that that thing can't then go any further because government can't take it on board because it's unsolicited. Then they must go out and tender. It's a whole process, and then someone else might get the tender. They know nothing what it's about, and then that project just don't go forward. So they're changing the Triple P regulations to allow for unsolicited bids. And those who's coming up with an unsolicited bid, they can recoup some of their expenditure, especially if they don't successful with their bid, which some of us have been arguing for years. And now before the elections, they're coming up with this. I think the due date for comment was today, or it might be on Wednesday. So that's a great feel-good moment. The fact that the Treasury will change the regulations around triple Ps and unsolicited bids, because there haven't been an unsolicited bid in South Africa for years. So I trust that you enjoyed the first episode of Rodsviews. Hopefully I've got a face for for television. I can't see my own face, so hopefully hopefully that you will tune in next Monday at 8 o'clock. This will be uploaded on the YouTube channel of Cape Conscious Media and the Rodsviews YouTube channel as well. And please share it with your friends. Let us hear your comments. Send me a email to rodsviews1010 rodsviews10@gmail.com. Let us hear your views. Give some suggestions, and even suggest who I should get on the program. What kind of people. Obviously, I don't want to give the ANC, the DA, and the EFF any oxygen. Later on, maybe, but up till the elections, it would be the smaller parties, independents, and newer parties. So, salute. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And thanks for joining us. I think it was actually quite nice. Thank you.